So I played the Resident Evil 4 Remake demo, and here's how it went. That's a mean kick. Jesus. He's chilling, dude. It's fine. Like, you know what? I rethought everything. I'm just gonna hang out. Leon don't give a fuck. That guy's like, that was a sick trick, dude. I'm gonna put my axe down now. I respect you, doing the X game shit. Boom, you guys both get one. What's up? Jesus, he's a stone cold killer. Oh god. Alright, that one sloppy, but decent. Stealth kill, dude. True. Imagine how awkward this would be if they just like look over and I'm just like this. No, it's going for the fucking leg. What's that guy? What is he doing? Oh my god.
Present for you.
Oh shit. Woo! I'm just trying to get the fuck out this door, you know what I'm saying? It's dinner time, guys. I'm not done. I'm not done with this motherfucker. What are you even doing? What are we doing here? Joe's tired, dude, and so am I. Hell yeah. And outside of the mouse feeling like there's some smoothing going on, which I hate in games, I absolutely love this demo and I cannot wait for this game to come out. Let me know if you tried the demo or if you're planning on doing it, and are you excited for Resident Evil 4 Remake? What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 183 of the Tasty Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk all things gaming. In this episode, we talk about a lot of stuff, including Robocop, Rogue City gameplay. We talk about Remnant 2 and how when you play it and I play it, we'll experience different things. We watch the Capcom Spotlight, better late than never, and we go over Resident Evil 4 Remake. We talk about the demo. I've played it. We talk about Exoprimal, and then we go over and read your guys' comments. We also talk about Dr. Disrespect, the video I put out. I kind of elaborate more on my concerns with him, with NFTs, and with this discussion carrying forward. And as always, I'll have everything chaptered, so if there's a specific topic you want to see us cover, make sure to check that out. Make sure to like this video. It helps us out a lot. Makes sure people get to see this video, because YouTube does not help me with that at all. And comment if you have things to say. We always love your guys' comments, and you may be featured on a future Tasty Cast. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 183 of the Tasty Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk all things gaming. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy on my left and on your right. Chevy, I hope you're doing well. I hope you are ready to talk about the games we've been playing. A lot of it has been VR, so that'll be a fun conversation. I've joined you in picking up VR again and getting my Vive set up. We will talk about that. But I made a video late last week, about Dr. Disrespect introducing NFTs into his newest game, in which he called people brain dead if they were not essentially into it. If they're naysayers, they're brain dead. We can talk about that a little bit, but I was going to ask you, maybe give us an update. How do you feel about NFTs in video games? It's been a while since we've talked about that.
Honestly, my only opinion is that if it's not adding anything to the gameplay experience, I don't care. So
yeah. So you're not incentivized by the potential of getting something in a game and becoming rich?
No.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not easily incentivized by money anyways, though. So I mean,
Sure. But you don't play video games to win big?
I don't gamble or
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the same page. It was really interesting because I made that video. I put it up on TikTok. I put it up on YouTube, where I was pretty critical of Dr. Disrespect because I felt like, first off, we're repeating the conversation we've already had when it came to Ubisoft and Square Enix, and they've both backed off that significantly. Square Enix, in fact, got rid of that president, and they're bringing on someone else. The guy who's pushing NFTs, he's gone, I guess. And so to have Dr. Disrespect come back, trying to get people excited about NFTs again after the crash that happened, they're not valuable anymore. And then when people, predictably, of course, criticize it, he went out and said that they're brain dead. I found that kind of insulting because he should be, have his finger on the pulse a bit on the gaming community and how much I'm very proud of them for doing this, rejected NFTs. And so, yeah, on YouTube, didn't get a whole lot of views or comments on it, which is fine, but we got a couple we'll be reading at the end of the episode. But over on TikTok, I got quite a bit of comments about this, and it was funny, like 98% of people pretty much agreed with my take. They don't want NFTs in games. They think Dr. Disrespect is, being ridiculous, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't like the guy, which I thought was surprising considering he's such a popular streamer. I've never been a big fan of him because I think his shtick of just yelling about stuff is not interesting. But I got some people that were kind of defending him, saying he knows what he's doing. He's going to revolutionize FPSs. If he's doing NFTs, it's going to be the right thing. I thought that was really interesting. Most people didn't see it that way, but some people did, and I respect their opinions. And so a couple things were kind of offered when it came to the NFT thing. I guess the idea is there will be an object you're playing for, and if you extract out with it, that's the NFT, and that could be worth money. And so people are saying in championships that could be good for like viewers. There's money on the table, and I kind of agree with that. If everybody was like a professional and they were playing for a prize like that, if you value NFTs, if there's actually money with it, that's one thing. But I think that could be interesting if you're into esports. I'm not, so it doesn't do anything for me. But then when people are talking about that you could win that, that's where I start getting the red flags a bit, because that, first off, is inviting to hackers, right? If you're a hacker, you're capable of doing stuff like that, and you could make money off this game by getting this object, it's going to incentivize hacking quite a bit. Secondly, it seems predatory because it feels like a carrot on a stick to me. That's like, hey, come play my game, probably spend money on microtransactions because you could win big. You can make this money. And not everybody's going to be making that money. So those are kind of two of my concerns with it. But the championship thing kind of makes sense to me, as long as there's like legitimacy to it. Obviously, if you're part of a professional team, you're probably not going to be hacking. You'll get caught. So what do you think about that? Does any of that sound positive? Do you agree with me on the terms of it feeling predatory?
I don't know about positive, or negative for that matter. I mean, it's just, it's effectively the equivalent of someone going and watching a horse race to me, and it's just not something I relate to, so I can't really connect to it at all. And I don't care about competition, so I'm kind of I think I'm the wrong person to ask for that. As far as like predatory, it's just as bad as any other thing like loot boxes or whatever. So
only if it was like, there's a 5% chance or a 1% chance or whatever that you could get a loot box that actually will give you money. It just feels like you said, it feels like gambling.
Yeah.
In that sense. Obviously, if the game's like free to play, there's no buy-in, but they are trying to incentivize you to, I'm sure, give them money because they're going to have to make money off this. So it just seems...
Well, video games aren't charity. So.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So, but you kind of raise a decent point in your, lack of having a whole lot to say on it. is that you lack interest in the whole thing. And I think that's kind of important because I'm kind of on the exact same page when it comes to my personal interest in playing the game, but then my side of like, you know, keeping track of what's happening in gaming, keeping track of what's happening in the gaming community, and the overall conversation of like practices, good and bad. That's where I get more invested in this conversation. I have a lot to say about it. But yeah, when it comes down to the game, there is no selling factor for me when it comes to the potential of winning a big prize or whatever. The idea of this being an esport thing, I mean, that could be exciting for people who are into esports, but I'm not. I have no interest in that. So that doesn't do anything for me either. And when I did have, this is probably the biggest point I have when it comes to this topic. The interest I had in playing Dead Drop, I think that's the name of his game, is still there, but I feel like it's been weakened now that I know that he wants to go in this direction, because it seems less interesting to me now as opposed to before where I'm like, oh, it's just going to be like an online shooter. I like that kind of thing. But yeah, now that it's like turning into this, like people are going to be playing to try win big or whatever, that just sounds like a virtual casino to me. And like, I just kind of losing me there. So, you know, even if the game was cool looking, if that's the model they're going to be going for, there's a good chance I will not be interested in that. And I'm curious about, and let me know in the comments if you guys have opinions on this, obviously, how that'll affect a lot of people. I feel like it will attract certain people. People who are into esports, people who are into like competitive gaming, stuff like that. But I don't know. It seems like a really stupid direction to go in, possibly. So, yeah. So you're not interested in it. I'm not interested in it, but I'm still curious about the game, if I'm being honest. And then, yeah, the way I think he handled himself in terms of, he said brain dead, so it's not like he said like people are fucking stupid or you guys are assholes. He wasn't like, you know, super insulting, but it is insulting in terms of like how long we've been having the conversation about NFTs for years now in gaming, and he's going to come out and act like he's doing something crazy and then, you know, tell people that they're brain dead if they have concerns about it. It seems a little disconnected from everything, especially, not to talk about too much, but like, you know, with the economy where it's at and people, you know, possibly wanting to spend money on more important things, it seems weird to, you know, be like, oh, you just don't get it. Like, you know, wanting these NFTs seems ridiculous to me. So, yeah, a little disconnected. Do you have anything else you want to say on that? No, just not interested. I feel it. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about the Dr. Disrespect situation with Dead Drop NFTs? If you are pro that, don't think I'm just going to be like, oh, if you like that, I'm going to have a big thing to say about it. You can have your own opinion. That's cool. But let me know what you see positive out of it. Is there something that maybe I didn't bring up that you think could be implemented to make NFTs in this game interesting? I've been pretty clear about how I think NFTs might make their way into gaming later, and it would make sense, but we're not there yet. And if you are a critic of this, let me know as well. That's pretty much mostly what I hear is criticism of this, but I'm open to all ideas. So yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to NFTs, Dr. Disrespect, and Dead Drop. All right, so let's jump into what we've been playing, where we talk about the games we've been playing. What have you been playing?
Not a lot. I have been playing No Man's Sky, whether that is in VR or not in VR, depending on mood or the controllers having any juice in them for the VR.
Which might be important to kind of let people know how that works in case they're thinking about picking up the PSVR 2. You like when you're on juice, you can't have them plugged in while you play.
They cannot be plugged in.
So you have to pretty much stop your gaming session or buy a second pair of controllers.
Yeah. It gives you a pretty ample warning when they're running out of battery, but the life I think is advertised as 4 hours. I get about 6. So
probably depending on what you're playing.
It's probably conservative so that they're not liars. So
sure. I just know like just like with a controller, if a game has a lot of vibration happening constantly with everything, your controller life's going to die quicker than a game that has less vibration.
Yeah. Well, and I know like specifically with the DualSense, it has the microphone built in as well, which is muted or not, is still constantly active, so it just drains power.
Well, even with my Vive, when I was kind of hopping around games, reacquainting myself with VR, some of them had some feedback, and some of them had constant feedback. Everything I grabbed, did anything, it just go, and I'm just like, this is gonna kill the battery pretty quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't played a whole lot of games, so I don't really have like a wide sample size to kind of go with the battery life on them. But I get about 6 hours on No Man's Sky with them. So, yeah, as far as that goes, I've been kind of playing it by myself and then a little bit of multiplayer here and there. I've still kind of like getting my bearings, but I'm at a point now where like the story is no longer like constantly teaching me stuff to do as much as like just having me go places and do things now, which is nice. I do think it's a little weird. It gives you like right off the pretty early on, I rather that this you get two main stories instead of just one. So I was having a bit of confusion on which one I should probably do first, and when I looked it up online, a lot of people had suggested the one over the other. I don't remember the names right now, but something about following Artemis or something like that being the one to do first, because it puts you in a path to like unlock a bunch of stuff for the game, basically.
When does that happen? Because I don't think I've had a choice in two stories, unless I do and I just don't know.
You're going to get to a point where you... How do I word that? Well, I guess spoilers don't really matter too much for that game.
Yeah, I don't care.
You're gonna summon an orb space station, and you can summon it in any system because it's effectively the multiplayer hub. But
okay.
But when you get that, you're gonna talk to an NPC in there, and then the quest is gonna have two, it'll branch into two things basically. So, the VR experience I really, really like in this game. I think it's pretty much the only way I want to play the game. Obviously, I can't do that all the time because the battery life, or one downfall of VR is you're not staring at a clock occasionally. So it's really easy to forget how long you've been in there.
Yeah, get what's that, virtual desktop?
Not on PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I just was thinking VR.
Yeah.
So yeah, never mind.
So I have to hit remind myself to hit the PlayStation button every once in a while to check the clock.
You've been saying this since last Tasty Cast, talking about losing time in VR, and it's been a while since I've been playing my VR, and I can definitely back you up in terms of like the last couple nights. You know, I gotta work. I'm not gonna play very long, and then I put the headset on and we're playing. And then, like, I take it off, I look, it's like 5:30 a.m. I'm like, oh, my God, dude. I was only going to play for like an hour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's easy to just forget what's happening in the real world.
Well, and it's just, you're so immersed, I suppose, would be what it is, that you're not thinking about outside of the headset.
Well, it's funny because you're immersed because the game's immersive, being in VR, being in a digital world, but you're also immersed because you have to be, because you're not holding a controller and just pressing buttons. You're physically having to focus on everything around you because you have to interact with it, just like in real life. So it's really easy to forget. You're just sitting there like just playing something, and like you're like, oh, I got to open the door. I got to reach for it. Okay, open that. Oh, I got to mess with this computer. Oh, I got to fly my ship. Like, yeah, it's just a more interactive experience.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird experience to have because I don't really get immersed. Well, really anything.
It's hard for me to be immersed. Yeah. I don't know if I have like ADHD or something, but like when I try to read a book, I constantly think about how I'm sitting there looking at a book while I'm also reading. So
it takes me about, I don't know, 30 minutes if I'm reading a book to like actually be able to start reading it.
Yeah, it's almost never happened for me. And then like movies are something I can get sucked into, but I always think about how the movie is directed, and I think about the actors' performances in the moment, and like, so I'm not immersed in that world,
right.
But I am immersed in, like, I love movies, and so most mediums, it's like any video games. A lot of times I'm like thinking about what's happening around me and shit, but VR is a different animal for sure. It's almost impossible to, if you're not immersed in it within 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know how that would be possible, because within like 20, 30 minutes, I'm just like, I'm forgetting. I'm just sitting in a room.
I'll say really the only thing that kind of pulls me out of it is if I start feeling, and it's only really happened with one game so far, but if I start feeling a little sick from it, sick is probably not the right word. I don't think I've ever felt sick, but dizzy. I get a little dizzy, depending on the motion controls.
I got a headache from one game ever, and it was a game where you swing around on a rope a lot, and the motion, I started getting like a really bad headache, and I was like, whoa, that's weird, because I've never experienced any kind of ill feeling from a visual. Like people get car sick, stuff like that. I've never had anything like that.
Yeah, I've only really experienced, and not in a sick sense, but like I keep saying sick, but I mean dizzy. I get like a little bit dizzy.
Not feeling good
if the movement's too fast in VR, and part of that is obviously going to be not being used to playing it often, because I've only ever really kind of sampled it throughout the past. The first time I've owned a headset and like used it on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, that's true. Because before, like, you would like check out something on the Vive, a lot of times you'd be like, oh, check this out, but you weren't sitting there playing it for hours.
Yeah, and the PSVR 1, like, there's only so many options I could do with that because I didn't have the Move controllers.
It kind of felt, we talked about it before, but like, it's cool what they could do with it, but it still kind of felt novelty for the PlayStation, because you didn't have any like deep experiences really on there. So all just like experiences.
Yeah, so the VR version, No Man's Sky, I do think is like the way to play it. If you can, you should.
Hard agree.
Plays fine on a controller, but I don't know. It's just not the same. Though I am much better at dogfights with a controller than I am in VR. I remember. Go ahead.
It is really interesting that like in VR, you grip the throttle and the what's it called? The fucking stick.
Joystick?
Wow.
Flight stick.
Flight stick. And so at least with the Vive, when you lean forward and backward, it moves the stick, and then you like push it forward and backward to get different speeds. And at first it feels kind of weird, but then after, pretty quickly, there were some pirates that flew in, and you like jumped in your ship, and I was like, I want to try that. So I jumped in my ship. And at first I wasn't getting hits, but then like I started getting kind of used to it. I'm like, oh, okay. And like I've played plenty of like, Ace Combat style games, so I'm like shooting ahead. The game's pretty lenient about if you shoot around the ship, you're hitting it. But it was actually a lot of fun. But it was just interesting getting used to that. So I assume with a controller, jumping in and flying is probably a lot easier than the slight learning curve of VR.
Yeah, and this is going to obviously vary from person to person, but like the part that is difficult for me is there's no resistance. You're holding an imaginary flight stick that has no pressure at all. It's just your hand in the air flopping around, basically. So it's really easy to just like oversteer a lot, I find. So, and then I got to reorient myself, and I'm terrible at directions. That's regardless of VR. I get lost in a shoebox. So, I struggle a little bit with the space fighting, but on the ground, with using like a gun to fight things and stuff, man, is it fun to be able to just aim however you want. So, I mean, I was like just like goofing off one time, and I was like holding the gun sideways and trying to aim that way, or like aiming over a railing while behind it and stuff like that. And that game's not really like a shooter. I do that in like every VR game where you're shooting guns. I'll just like try to do trick shots and stuff just to see what happens. Yeah, it's fun. Because I mean, like, what other opportunity you got to essentially use a firearm that way in a safe manner? So,
sure. And there's no FPS that can give you that experience.
Yeah.
Because you're not controlling the hand. You're just looking and shooting.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. The multiplayer seems to work pretty good. The game does crash sometimes, and that seems to be PC and console. I was playing with 2 people at one point, one on PC, one on PlayStation, not in VR. All 3 of us crashed at one point or another. So, and
I don't think I crashed.
No rhyme or reason to that.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, I've crashed the game twice total, and I have like hours and hours. So like, it's not like a common thing, but common enough that it just kind of happens. And it's
How many
just a
hours do you think
game,
you
man.
have?
I gotta be close to 30, I'd say at this point.
Oh, it's not. I think I was about to say 300. I'm like, ooh.
Ooh, no. I haven't had it that long. I don't think I've had 300 hours to invest into the VR. So, the multiplayer also, just kind of throw it out there, uses a friend code system. But that's because it has crossplay.
I hate it.
It is annoying to get set up, but once it's set up, they're on your friends list.
Yeah.
And you can just hop in a game with them as long as they're in the multiplayer menu when they start their game. So.
If I had to type that in every single time, I would limit the amount of times I'd be playing that game.
Yeah, it literally just adds a person to your list. And I get why they do it, because obviously they need a means to communicate between different devices.
There's the other way that most people do, and that's have a Hello Games account that you would sign up to, and then you would add them as a friend via their servers. But they probably didn't want you to have to sign up for a bunch of shit. So they probably give you that code that's unique to you, so that the game just in the server knows who exactly you're talking about.
I think part of that too is because your save is like if I log into the PC version, that my character's not there. It's on my PS5 only, so and it's non-transferable. So
yes, it's not account based because
so
you don't have
I think the code is part of your save file.
Yeah.
So I would prefer if they did like a login with a cloud save or something, but it's just not the way they do it. It's not a huge deal. It's a small inconvenience, but after that, it works fine. I do wish the multiplayer was a little bigger. 4-player seems a little small, but the game also didn't have multiplayer when it came out. So.
Better than 2 and 3 though.
Yeah, I agree. Especially 2. I think 2 would be a little silly for a space game like this. So.
I'd still play it.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, a game this big is definitely where you want to start.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think like having like a group of like 6 to 12 people, I think would be really neat.
Yeah.
Not that I play with that many people, but if you can just go where the fuck you want, but be connected, like there isn't like, well, how do we get all 12 people here? Just I don't know.
Well, the other thing that's been nice too, and this is more of a Sony Discord thing, but with Discord working through PlayStation now, it's been really nice with the crossplay aspect of it to just be in Discord, because then the PC guys and the console guys, we can all talk to each other.
Have you tried that out yet?
I was in Discord with you.
Via the PS5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, with my VR headset using its mic and its earbuds. So.
Yeah, next time, a lot of times when I play games, just because these microphones are better than any headset, I typically use this.
Yeah.
But in VR, it's kind of rough because I don't want this near me when I'm reaching around and stuff.
They're designed to be near you.
Yeah, you want to be like right on top of these.
Yeah.
And so I had it moved back a bit, so you probably could hear more of the room. I was probably not as loud as I could be.
You were just quiet. I don't know if I really heard too much of the room. There was a little bit, but it wasn't too bad.
But at least my voice is going to have a little bit reverb to it. Next time I'm just going to use my headset with the shittier mic, but I'd rather you be able to hear me up close than from across the room.
Well, especially because and obviously audio design in games and any media really, like music and some sound effects will just be like super loud.
Sure.
So like when ships are landing, for example, I drown anything you were trying to say out. So
yeah. Speaking of music, I love the music in this game. I didn't forget that because I'm actually a really big fan of the soundtrack of this game, and I've not played this game a whole lot, but it's done by 65 Days of Static, and I just fucking love it. And so I've listened to that album more times, so much more than I've invested time in the game. And so like when we were playing, every once in a while, some of the songs I love off the album would start playing. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in heaven right now. I love this. So, but yeah, sometimes it would just kind of build up and be loud, and I could barely hear you. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to do in the game still. It's kind of hard to like talk about checkpoints because I don't really. It's kind of a sandbox game, so. But I think it's fun. It's also just a good place to like socialize. Like, I was in voice chat, with you obviously, but then also with Chris and Scream, and we were all three doing our own things and just chatting, and then occasionally someone would be like, "Hey, you got any gold?" or "Hey, you got any this?" And someone would just like, "Yeah, I got someone." And they'd fly it over real quick, drop it off, go back to what they're doing. So it's nice. Don't have to think too much, and you can just kind of do your thing. And then if you want to socialize, you can go up and be in person or not. It doesn't matter. So, anyways, that is literally all I've been playing in the last week. So.
Nothing else?
Nothing of note. I've been playing mobile games, so I'm not going to talk about those. So,
all right. Well, I guess I'll start off saying I've been playing No Man's Sky. Haven't played it a whole lot, but I've done 2 sessions now with you talking about it a lot and having experienced the PSVR 2 again. It's kind of gotten me going like, oh yeah, I have VR. And so I hooked up my Vive. Had a couple issues with the setup, as every time I ever take a break from VR and I set the Vive up again, there's some issue that pops up, but I always get past it, and we did, and it works great now, so having a great time with it. And I kind of hopped around, played a couple different VR games to kind of reacquaint myself. I'm not going to talk about those too much just because a lot of them are old. Like I was playing Gorn for a little bit, which is an arena combat game. It's a lot of fun. I played some Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which is, I didn't really play that a whole lot when it first came out, but I bought it when it came out, played it now, and it's pretty impressive. And then I got a bunch of other games I plan on playing soon. But I played No Man's Sky because you've been talking about it quite a bit for like a week now, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. It's really neat. I've always had a hard time getting super sucked into No Man's Sky because I played it back when it came out, and even though a lot of people had their criticisms of it, I remember playing it, and all my suspicions of what it was going to be like were exactly what it was. I was like, my first thought was like, oh no, people are going to be so upset about this game. But I was like, okay, it's an exploration game. It's amazing since the time that game came out how fucking far this game has come. There's so much shit you can do in this game, and so much things you can interact with. There's combat, there's base building, terraforming. You can fly everywhere. Like, they've just added so much stuff to this. And so yeah, anytime I try to get back into it, I always get to the tutorial part, puts me on some shitty planet that's just murdering me instantly.
Definitely are on.
And and it's always kind of a detriment to trying to get into the game and learn it when like the planet's just murdering you. Also, you mentioned this before a little bit when it came to you prefer this on VR. I also do, because after I played a couple sessions of this in VR, I played real quick just the normal version on PC, and even the UI is not as good in the base game as opposed to VR. Everything you're looking at is just all on the screen, just taking up a lot of room. And I know it sounds stupid because, like, what else would they do? But, like, in VR, there's, like, a lot of periphery happening where, like, my menu is on my gun. So, like, I can move it over and, like, the other menu will be over here. And, like, some of my objectives are, like, down to my lower right near, like, my foot level. And then I got some information in the top left over here if I look up to it. And, like, it just feels more open and clean as opposed to when I was playing it with mouse and keyboard, even though that was a little tighter in aiming.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, my hand, I aim pretty quickly, but like, your head movement and stuff is just a little looser, especially flying, stuff like that. But I did a little bit of base building or whatever with the mouse and keyboard, and it almost felt better because it just felt a little more precise.
Ooh, I don't agree with that. I love the way the base building feels.
I think it feels good too, but the perspective's weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm like there looking at this giant wall, like going like, I'll put that here. Whereas like on mouse and keyboard, it feels more gamey, I guess, and less immersive.
Yeah. The thing I just like is I can go like this, point.
It's still really cool in VR the way they did it. It's very impressive. But I've been jokingly saying since I've played this feels like when this came out in 2016, which is fucking crazy. It came out that long ago. I think it came out then. It always says 2016 at the bottom when you load it. A game that came out that long ago, it feels like this game was a VR game that didn't have VR support yet. Because I'm playing it now, I'm like, this is the way the game's supposed to be played, I think. Because like the other way to play it feels less of like the experience you get from this. Like, I don't know, they did a really good job with the I almost said VR port, but the adaptation to VR. They did a really good job in that.
And it seems like they make a version of it for, any VR platform it's on too. Because like when the PSVR 2 came out, they made a PSVR 2 version of the VR stuff. So
I think we're well past Hello Games making up for anything, but so like they should charge for their next big thing if they wanted to. I think they've earned it at this point. But
I mean, they're still charging $60 for a game that's closing in on 10 years old. So.
Sure, but they update huge updates regularly. It's crazy. So it's kind of a steal at this point to spend $60 and get this much content, especially for VR. There's not a whole lot of games like this.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? Before
They've made up for it. They should charge for the next big thing.
Oh yeah, they've made up for it. This is what I was gonna say. So, it just feels like Hello Games is still trying to prove to people how dedicated they are to doing as much as they can to make the game awesome. And that's what I meant by they made up for it already a long time ago. They don't need to do that, but like they could have half-assed the VR. They didn't. They didn't have to make a PSVR 2 version, except for obviously they want to put it on there. But like they're going out of their way to do a lot of these little things for a game they're not charging for anymore outside of the base game. And I admire it, but at this point I'm like, guys, you're not in the wrong anymore. Like the thing you lied about originally, it's not a lie anymore. So like, and you've done more than anyone ever expected for this game. So, it's just crazy the support the game's got. So anyway, the VR is a lot of fun. The training tutorial is still kind of frustrating, but better than it was. And did some base building. I thought that was really neat. Did some flying around, really neat. It's cool to be able to fly into space, fly to a space station, go to your frigate that was fucking massive, fly back to my planet, shoot at space pirates, explore, build, terraform, all that stuff. Really cool experience. And definitely.
I was just saying, I don't think I'll get sick of like sitting in a cockpit like in VR. Like it's just such a cool thing.
Yeah, it's neat.
So.
And this feels a little more relaxed than like when I tried like the Ace Combat VR, where I'm like breaking my neck trying to keep up with everything happening. But this, everyone's just kind of like gliding around, not very fast. So so that's really cool. And yeah, I'm gonna probably play more for sure because I'm enjoying it. Okay, so non-VR games, or as the VR people online call them, flat games. They always say if it's like a mod, they're like flat to VR. Which I found out there is a Deep Rock Galactic flat to VR mod that I'm very interested in checking out. But enough about.
It's like anime people calling non-anime watchers normies.
There's a lot of normies out there. People call normies about a lot of things when they're not initiated.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah,
those games, flat or whatever.
Yeah. It's just weird that like the way games have been since the beginning of time. They're like, oh, those are flat games. So like, no, those are video games. But I get it. It makes sense, especially when you're talking about like, what did they make like a Resident Evil 4 VR game, or is it a flat to VR mod?
Right.
It makes sense why they say it. Okay, so let's see. A bunch of little games that I played recently that I won't have a lot to say on. I played Last Epoch again. This is a game I bought in early access a while ago, and it is a Diablo-style game. I originally bought it. I played it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's not the best-looking game ever, but it's got some pretty cool systems. I think the leveling system for the classes. Each class, there's what you expect. Some kind of warrior, some kind of rogue, some kind of blah, blah, blah. But then when you get to a certain level, you can start speccing into one of their 3 trees. That starts turning the rogue into an archer or an assassin, stuff like that. And the game's pretty fun, but when I first bought it and played it, I was like, hell yeah, dude. All Diablo-style games have multiplayer. All of them. This one didn't. And for like years, they're like, we're going to work on multiplayer. We're going to try and implement it. And I'm like, okay, get back to me when you do that. Well, it's out in beta now. Just came out. So I was like, well, maybe it's time to finally play that game. So I've been playing it. Haven't played it with people yet. Haven't tested it yet. But it's a lot of fun. I could see myself playing it more. Especially with I don't know, Wolcen. I haven't played that, but Wolcen's Chapter 4 is coming out soon. like in a week or something like that. You remember how the end just kind of cuts off?
Kinda. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we talked about it. I really loved Wilson, but the end of the story does just kind of like end, and it's just like, okay, where's it going with that? And I was kind of expecting an expansion, but they're finally releasing Chapter 4, which is supposed to implement a new end game. So that's interesting. So I was kind of thinking about hopping into that, but then I saw this at multiplayer, and I was like, man. And then Diablo 4 is supposed to have a beta soon. But I guess if you buy some fast food, you can get into it early. And I'm like, that's
KFC,
yeah. I'm like, wow, I'm not trying to give them free advertising, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you go to KFC anyway, it would make sense. Like, oh, I guess I can play it early, but like, I would not go out my way to go get some KFC to get into a beta early. It seems kind of stupid. So, but yeah, just an interesting partnership. But anyway, I guess that's the kind of. I've been playing so much Wild Hearts lately that like I'm finally just at the point where I'm waiting for people to kind of catch up to where I'm at. But like I'm like, I want to play something else. So apparently that's just been shooters and like isometric fucking hack and slash games. Because I'm interested in Wilson, interested in Diablo 4 kind of, and then Last Epoch, which is definitely fun. But I'd like to play with people to see how that works. It is interesting though. Before multiplayer was implemented in Last Epoch, it had a chat. So everybody's playing single player and talking to each other. So it's really weird that
reminds me of mobile games, because mobile games do that.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. People would be like asking questions like, so how do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, talking about other games and stuff.
So it
has
had social features, but no, you couldn't play together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you can play together. But when I was playing solo, I was still just reading chat while I was playing. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was saying mobile games the whole time.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but I also I don't want to see what people are saying half the time. So
yeah, I'm a social dude. I like to, regardless of what people are saying, I'm just like checking out what they're saying. Definitely not talking to anybody on there though. I got nothing to say to those fucking people. Yeah, so like I said before, I've been playing a lot of Wild Hearts still. I am kind of taking a little break from it because I was just only playing that for like a week and a half. I'm pretty much ready for endgame. I farmed, I think, the last boss until I got the full armor set and the weapon. I've had that for a while though, and I'm kind of ready to start doing the volatile bosses. I've already done a couple of them with randos, and they are pretty tough, but I like to do it with people I know. So when people are ready to do that, I think Josh is like almost done with the story as well. So
Scream and Chris are too, I think. So
they are done with it, or they're almost done.
I'm pretty sure they're done.
I would hope by now.
I can't find the time or motivation to play the game. So
yeah. Oh yeah, you played it
once. I played it once.
Yeah. But yeah, I still love it. I think it's great.
Right.
I think it has a lot of really cool systems. I love some of the stuff they have in the game that they didn't need to do. Like, I don't want to say I guess it'd be a spoiler. There's places that evolve visually that reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2, where like during the game there's like a house being constructed, and later in the game the house is like built. Small things like that. Things I expect to see in Grand Theft Auto 6. I think they said the cities are going to evolve, which is going to be fucking wild. This has something like that. And I'm like, they didn't even have to have this in the game, but they did. And it's like you're watching this place kind of grow and evolve. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like, that's not something I would expect from a game like that. So anyway, yeah, the game's great. The end game's fun. And they've already implemented a new monster and some new events. So they are going all in on supporting this game this early already. So you love to see that. And yeah, game's great. I'm going to keep playing it, but I'm at the point where I want to play a little more dedicated and have an objective. I was kind of going through and doing all the side quests, but eventually I'm not going to have those anymore. So yeah, played some Sons of the Forest with Josh. We did some multiplayer. I hate Kelvin. He's funny as a meme when he's not in my game, but in my game, he was driving me nuts, and I almost wanted to kill him. For anybody who doesn't know, Kelvin is a NPC that you can assign tasks. And he used to, if you're like, oh, give me fish, he would endlessly get fish to the point where he just started piling them up and they start rotting and stuff. They've made it so he has a limit now. So I'll send him on a task. He'll do it like 3 times. Then I'll go sit by the fire. My problem, every time I bring up I hate Kelvin, people look at me weird. They're like, why? And I'm like, he gets in the way. Like, yes, tell him to do something else. I'm like, I do. And then he stops and he comes back. He's in my way again. He'll like go in my house and just stand in the doorway. He'll get stuck under ramps. He'll walk into walls. He'll get stuck behind some branch or something. In combat, he doesn't fight. So I'm like, so you're just in the way, getting hit by things now? Like, that's not efficient. That's not an effective means for you to be here for. So yeah, I think he's a funny character. I do like if you were playing this solo that you can have an NPC companion. It's great. But yeah, in multiplayer, when it's like me and Josh just getting shit done, I was like, is there a way I can like tell you to fucking go somewhere for a while and then come back? He felt like he was just in the way constantly. But me and Josh played a little bit. We built an area, built like a cabin, built all the stuff like a fire, place to dry food and all sorts of stuff. We explored a little bit. We had a situation that I audibly was like, like it was nighttime. We're getting ready to go to sleep. We're in the cabin. There's like just 2 torches of light. That's it. It's pretty dim. And I'm like in my inventory. Josh is in his inventory. And I'm like looking through. And when you open your inventory, you put your backpack down, you spread across the ground all the stuff that you have, and you like use your mouse to look around at all the things to combine things.
Okay.
I'm doing that and I hear, woo! And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I get out of my inventory and there's just a dude in the cabin with us. And instantly I had a bow and arrow in my hand. I shot an arrow right into his chest. He swung at me and ran out the door. And so me and Josh both chased him out the door. And he's just running into the woods, just into the dark. And I'm like shooting arrows at him. Then we go back to the cabin and we hear another dude. I come around the back of the cabin. There's another guy fucking around back there. And I'm like, for some reason, I just thought like at nighttime, these guys aren't going to show up. But like sure as fuck, they were there just messing around. That shit was horrifying. Yeah, so we did some exploration. We got to, it's very early in the game, so anybody who's playing this game a lot, I'm just going to be like, yeah, whatever. But we got to the 3D printer. I'll just keep it there. Very interesting. We also went into our first cave that seemed to just go on for fucking miles. You would hate it. It's pitch black in there. You have like, minimal light sources. You have some flares you can throw around. And there's just dudes wandering around in the dark and they come attack you. And me and Josh were just like battling through these dudes for a while. Got the zipline gun out of there though. So anybody who's been playing the game probably knows what cave I'm talking about. So that was a fun experience. And yeah, I think that's about as far as we went. I need to play it again. I've been playing other games a lot more than this, but I did finally play it a little bit. So that it's nice to be able to say. Let's see. So I've been really want to play shooters lately, competitive shooters. It's funny. Been playing Wild Hearts, co-op game, loving it. But the whole time I'm like, I want to fucking go against people. I want to win. I want to beat people. It's my competitive side coming out. I was like, I need something competitive. So I was thinking about like, what shooters can I even play though? Like I could play Modern Warfare 2. It's fun enough, but like every time I play it, it almost starts feeling like muscle memory. I don't feel like I'm really thinking about tactics. We're supposed to play Battlefield 21 or 2042. I haven't touched it still, but I'll get there eventually, I guess. So yeah, I was kind of thinking about things, and I was like, a game I haven't played in a long time, fucking Hunt Showdown. I haven't played in like over a year. So the last time I was thinking about picking it up, they had added all these things. I was like, it sounds like a lot. I'll watch some videos or something, and I never did. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to jump in. So I downloaded it again, I'm playing it, and I forgot how much I fucking love Hunt Showdown. I always tell people that. I'm like, it's one of the best games, one of the best shooters ever made, which I 100% believe. But playing it again, I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I forgot how fucking good this game is. The audio design is so fucking good. It's still one of the best that exists. The shooting is so good. The game looks awesome still. The dark imagery is awesome. They've added... I got kind of worried when I started adding, like, ammo types that have, like, poison and fire and stuff like that. people are still mostly just shooting each other. They barely use it because you have to buy the ammo. You also have to unlock access to the ammo, which I didn't know about. I believe they've added a boss since the last time I played, and they're going to be adding a wandering one soon, which is something they've been talking about for years. So it's cool they're finally doing that, because I think that'd be really cool to have a boss that's just out in the open. That's not something they've done before. Yeah, they have a bug that you can throw now, and it's a drone essentially. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like that, because it sounds like they're just trying to find their way to do something Call of Duty-esque, but keep it in theme of the game. And it kind of is that, but I kind of also liked it. Me and Cody were playing, and we had this fucking weird game. Both bosses were being, oh God, I can't remember the word for that. Banished or whatever. And there's a countdown, and it lets everybody know. And once that happens, they're able to get their bounties and leave. It was happening at the same time, so we went to one of the two, and I was like, I've never used the bug before, let's check it out. So I throw it, all of a sudden I'm in its vision, and I'm able to fly up and down, and I'm just flying. It's super loud. It's like, so they know it's coming. But I guess you can fly it in there and blow it up. So it's kind of like an RX, oh God, what is that? RXD? from fucking Call of Duty, the little car that blows up. But anyway, I fly it in there, expecting to see two dudes huddled up, getting ready to try and defend themselves from anyone who tries to get the bounties. And there's just nobody in the fucking building. And finally it finishes up, and the bounties are ready to be grabbed. I'm like, where'd they go? These dudes just killed the boss and left without the bounties? That's fucking bizarre. So finally, I'm like, Cody, go in there. He like sneaks in there, and he grabs his bounty. And I'm like, you don't hear anything? He's like, no. I'm like, where'd they go? and he's like, well, maybe the boss killed them. I'm like, where are their bodies? Like, this is fucking creepy. I'm like, I feel like this is an ambush. And so anyway, I eventually go in there myself, grab the bounties. And then I'm like, do you want to go grab the other bounties? They're just sitting there too. And he's just like, okay. And so we're going over there, and we're both talking about it. And we both come to the conclusion, and we're like, what if they killed the boss here, and they ran over, and either somebody else killed the boss, and they went to fight them to double up on their bounties, or they ran over and killed the other boss, and they're going to come back? Or what if they're waiting for us to ambush us? And Cody's like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, let's just be careful. We get there, and it's fucking silent at the other boss, too. And I'm like, where'd they go? Why are there two bosses that were killed that just don't have anybody here? We go in this room, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, there's a dead body. There's a dead body at this place, and there's a dead body right next to him. And then there's another dead body over here. And I'm like, did the guys who killed this boss run over here, and they all killed each other? Because we found just a bunch of dead bodies.
Right.
It was fucking bizarre. So we just, like, grabbed all the bounties and left. I was like, this is the easiest match I've ever had in my life when it comes to Hunt. It was really weird. That's just kind of an example of how
quite
things...
fortuitous.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
But, like, because it's Hunt the whole time, I was like... we got to be careful, because people strategize in this game. Like, and I don't know why two different bosses are just being given to us. So anyway, I experienced the bug. I think it's all right. It wasn't too bad. It seems pretty fair. I mean, it's loud, so you probably can shoot out of the air. But yeah, anyway, a lot of things they've added, I think, have been responsible. They added a bunch of new perks too since the last time I played, and they seem creative. There's some really cool ones there. I remember a while back they had added, I think it's Serpent or something like that, and you're essentially able to interact with rifts from far away before you have to walk up to them and interact with them. And now you can like do it through a wall, but it makes a bunch of noise and it takes longer. So there's a risk and reward to that. They added a similar perk to that where you can do that to downed allies. You can get them from a distance, but I think there's a negative to it. I forgot what it was, but it also takes longer. So you're risking getting shot in the middle of a firefight. So they've added a lot of really cool stuff to it. The game's still great. I am trying to shake the cobwebs off on my ability to kill people, but my first match I killed 3 people, so I wasn't too upset with that. And then I got a doubled up bounty match on accident. We didn't even have to do anything, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, I'm going to be playing Hunt more often again. I'm loving it, and it's so refreshing, especially when I'm sitting going like, oh, I want to play a shooter, every shooter is just like a modern shooter where you're running around unloading and dying, unloading and dying. And I forgot, just how cool of an idea Hunt is. So yeah, really enjoying that. And then on that same note, I also, because me and Cody were playing Hunt, he had picked up Marauders when me and Josh were playing it, so I was like, we play that too. So we hopped over playing Marauders. Josh ended up hopping on as well. If you guys don't know what Marauders is, it's similar to Hunt. It's an extraction shooter where you enter an area, you get something, you leave. In Marauders, though, it's interesting because like you start the match from your own ship, and you have to fly to different ships in space, and you can fight each other out there too. So if somebody else sees you with their ship, they start shooting at you, blah blah blah. They can breach your ship, which is fucked up. In fact, somebody did breach me and Cody's ship at one point, and Cody was still pretty new, so he went and like was ducked behind a bed, and I was like running through the ship trying to find the guy who breached us. And when I came around the corner, I see a guy like looking at me from behind a bed, and I just went bop bop bop, and I just murdered him. And Cody's like, he's in here, he's in here. I'm like, oh shit. He's like, what? I'm like, I killed you. I'm pretty sure I just killed you. So that was kind of embarrassing. But Cody got me back because there was this situation where me, Josh, and him were playing. Josh was up front watching a door. We're in the middle of a firefight. We're all shooting down the hallway, and then we kill one of the dudes. And then I'm watching behind us because I know the gunshots are going to bring people. And I hear somebody faintly out there creeping around. And I tell him, like, there's somebody back here. I don't know if it's an NPC or a real person, but there's somebody back here. And Cody's like, I think Cody's getting like amped up. He's like, just sitting there. He's like, and also he's like, oh shit. I'm like, what? He's like, there's a guy. And I'm like, where? And I like back away from the door that I'm next to, and I get shot. I'm like, oh fuck, dude. Like, I don't even see him. Where's he at? And Cody's like, there's definitely a dude. And like, as I'm like turning to run into this kitchen, I look over and I see Cody get up and he's running towards me. And in my brain, I'm like, oh fuck, he thinks I'm the enemy. And like, I run over to the other door and he comes in. He's like, there's a guy in here. He's looking right at me, and he starts shooting me. I'm like, stop. And he's just like, what? I'm like, you're shooting me. He's like, no, dude, there's a dude in here. I'm like, no, you're fucking shooting me. He's like, no, there's a guy. He just unloads completely and kills me. And I was like, oh, you fucking killed me. He's like, no, dude. He's like, I shot the guy in the kitchen. I'm like, that's me. I'm the guy in the kitchen. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm the fuck guy. He's like, you said there's a guy. I'm like, I said I heard a guy. And like, it's this whole situation. He ended up feeling bad. He ended up grabbing my gun and my ammo for me, which I appreciated, because in this game, if you die, you lose your shit. And he brought it back for me or in the next match. But yeah, that's kind of the crazy things that can happen in this game. But yeah, you enter these ships, you go in, you grab a bunch of stuff. It's very Tarkov-like, and you end up extracting. And if you die, you lose your stuff. So, high risk, high reward type game. And that game's great too. When that game first came out, I wanted to love it, and it had some hacker issues, but it's a lot better now, so I'm glad to see that. So yeah, I think that's everything I've been playing. Shooters and top-down games, apparently, and VR. So a lot of fun. Anything else you got to say? Anything you remember you played that you didn't mention? All right, well, let us know in the comments what have you guys been playing? What games would you recommend us play? What's your favorite? What's a good competitive shooter should be playing right now? Because like, I got that itch, and I'm playing these and I'm loving them. But like, I looked up a list and everybody's still saying like CS:GO, Valorant, Apex. I'm like, yeah. Is there anything else? So if you got recommendations, let me know. Or maybe if you are still playing some of these games like Siege or something, should I return to those games? And yeah, let us know in the comments everything you think when it comes to the games you've been playing, and what games you think we should be playing. All right, so we got quite a bit of videos to watch this episode, so let's just jump into them. Okay. First one being Robocop Rogue City gameplay overview. This is PS5 gameplay, okay. And it's interesting because we watched the teaser for this when it first came out, and you actually reacted to it pretty positively, which I thought was interesting, because you're not against the idea of playing shooters, but it's typically not like what you lean towards.
I don't gravitate towards it.
Yeah. So getting any kind of thing out of you that's not just like, oh, it's not for me, was interesting when it came to this. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to watch this and see what we think when it comes to the actual gameplay, because before it was like a concept thing. So is there anything you want to say on this before we watch it?
I mean, I just kind of vaguely remember I don't even honestly remember what I watched, but I do remember that it was pretty faithful, and I think that was kind of a huge draw for me. There's obviously going to be some nostalgia with Robocop with our age bracket as well. So
true.
Yeah.
I have more of an affinity for like Terminator, but
Sure.
I definitely watched Robocop as a kid, and you know, the idea of just walking around as a robot with a gun, fucking serving justice, is interesting. I'm curious how they're going to handle it, because Robocop like just walks, so you're just going to be like taking rounds while you're shooting people. Gameplay wise, I'm curious how that'll work out. So
yeah.
All right, let's watch this.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1, and go. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
You came to clean up this city, didn't you? It'd be easier to burn it all to the ground.
Looks good.
Believe me, just burn it all.
I think faithfully walking makes sense, but at the same time, in a modern day game, the idea of just walking, I feel like is going to drive people crazy.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be tough for some people.
Drugs in the basement.
I go slow in every
will
game anyway,
take
so it's not
care
gonna bother me at all. But
When I'm a run and gun
Open
guy,
the
but if the
door.
game's designed in like
I
tight
have
quarters where it's not really going to matter if you have to run across the map, you know, probably fine.
yeah,
Ragdoll.
Surrender your weapons.
Juicy. The gun feels impactful. Okay. Wonder if it's gonna be like a dash or something.
damn.
The visuals is definitely very authentic.
Yeah.
Bullet time.
Fucking gross.
Yeah, it's definitely gory, which you'd hope for. September 2023.
One parking ticket is all it takes to improve mindfulness.
True. Well, it's good to know it's coming out for PS5. Definitely knew it was going to come out for PC. What do we think?
I don't think it's gonna be for everybody.
I think it's going to be for quite a bit of people, though, in terms of like just the brand.
Yeah, the thing I think is got going for it is it'll likely be, we still don't really have a lot of confirmation on it, but a very story centric game. And I do know there is an audience for that, because you see there was like a while there where like Call of Duty was dropping their single player and Battlefield and all that stuff, and people would complain about that because that was their reason for buying it. Now they're the minority, but they're still there. So stuff like this is going to be more at home for those type of people, and not everyone wants to play a multiplayer game. So that being said, I think just as an authentic experience, it looks cool to me, and something I'm interested in. I just hope that there's more to do than just walk down hallway, shoot some guys. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
We'll see. This was a good like show of like gameplay. I just need like details on like, I guess, systems would be the next step. So
Yeah, one thing for me that does look appealing is I feel like the guns feel impactful when you shoot people. It feels like they're getting hit and they're getting thrown or whatever. Also, the emphasis of ragdoll. I know a lot of games just have ragdoll nowadays, but a lot of times it's not like exciting ragdoll. And this, it seems like people are flying around, which is kind of takes me back a bit. But then also, I think one thing hopefully this game will have is obviously different situations you're walking into to essentially have this shooting range, but hopefully different environmental things so that you're getting more from the combat. Because yeah, if it is just like every levels, you just walk in, there's dudes, and you just shoot them, that could get old quickly. But if there's like, you know, for instance, if like, I don't know, like a garage or something, and there's a car up on the thing, and you shoot it and it drops down on somebody, things like that, I think would make it more interesting. Different environments, different environmental hazards, things you could take advantage of. Because then I could see, like, you know, even though I wasn't a big fan of the game, something like Bulletstorm, where like you're running through and trying to get creative on how you take people out, could make a game like this pretty interesting. But also, if it's really story centric and tells it in a fun way, that also could be a driving factor for wanting to play this. But I think the combat looks pretty cool for a game where you're just kind of walking around. I liked they dashed in there and punched that person. I like that you can pick people up and throw them.
Capcom, yeah.
That seems super satisfying because the guy went flying down the hall into things. And that's definitely something. I mean, I used to play any shooter I could when I was younger that had like crazy physics and ragdoll just to see what would happen in combat. And that's something I don't really experience much anymore. So this kind of reminds me of that. And then, yeah, if you're a Robocop fan, I feel like this game's going to be a must. Because, like, the last Robocop games you got were probably on, what, Sega or something?
Probably,
It's been a while. So to get, like, a fully 3D immersive first-person shooter that's Robocop, it's kind of crazy. But I do feel like now more than ever, people are getting old IPs and making the games people want. We got the Starship Troopers game coming out that looks really cool. We got the Killer Clowns from Outer Space game. We're getting Ghostbuster games. All these things that, you know, a lot of indie developers are getting their hands on, which I think is really interesting. So, wonderful. Well, I feel like they've made plenty of Terminator games, and they're never that great.
Outside of the one in the arcade where you get to shoot stuff.
Yeah, it was a good one. But yeah, overall, I do, if I'm being honest, have slight concerns about this, but I also think a lot of the stuff looks better than I expected. So this is definitely a game I'm going to keep my eye on, but so far it looks like a game I would probably pick up. So yeah, looks cool. You got anything else you want to say on it? All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Robocop Rogue City gameplay overview. Is there something you noticed that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? And are you excited for this? Or are you not excited for this? Are you going in kind of, you know, keeping an eye on it, but not, you know, super sold on it? And what are some things you're hoping for from this game in terms of gameplay? Is the constant walking a concern for you, or are you okay with that? And yeah, if you have any information on the game that you read, let us know in the comments below. And yeah. Next video we got is Remnant 2, the sequel to Remnant from the Ashes. And it says, Remnant 2 doesn't want you and your friends to experience the same game. This is via IGN. And yeah, it's going to be talking about how it has a similar system to the original game in terms of like randomizing things for every run. But they're taking it a step further. And yeah, jumping in before we watch this, I love Remnant from the Ashes, and you actually liked it way more than I thought you were going to like it. When we reviewed it, we're both, I don't remember if we gave it A's or not, but like, I think we both really liked it. So this is actually a pretty high priority game for me this year. I'm really excited to play it. And sometimes I'll say that, and a lot of people don't even know what it is still. But then certain people are like, oh yeah, dude, I love that game. And I'm like, that's crazy. But then some other people are like, well, the game is okay. And I'm like, man, it's so weird the game exists, and like a lot of people just didn't play it, but then like the people who did play it, some people really dug it like I did, and that's fine. You know, everybody's got their opinions, but then some people are like, it's whatever. So it kind of seems like a game that, you know, has a wide variety of opinions on it from a lot of people. So I'm actually surprised we're getting a second Remnant, but I'm very happy about it. I can't wait to play it, and if it has co-op, which I know it does, I'll be very happy. Is there anything you're hoping to see from this?
A longer game than the first one.
Yeah. If they just make it bigger than the last game in every way, and I thought there's plenty of stuff in the game, just the game itself, the story was pretty short.
So short.
And you still got to play the one of the DLCs, because there's more. But yeah, I just think about all the items, all the weapons and stuff. I'm like, I just want more. I just want more from the game. That's it. You could have just made an expansion, but they made a sequel. So hopefully the sequel just offers way more than the last game, and I'll be in heaven. So
True.
All right, let's watch this. This is I'm not gonna say the whole sentence. In 3, 2, 1, and go. This one has classes and class perks, which is different than the last game.
Yeah.
The last game you picked a class and it was starting gear.
One big change we made for Remnant 2 was that we randomized the storyline. So if you go in and you fight a mini-boss, and another player goes in and fight a mini-boss in an area, they might have a completely different boss. You might have different events, there's different like random events that occur in the game, and even the layouts of the dungeons change and everything change. You played Remnant 1, and you both start the game, you're both gonna go into the city, you're gonna like find a big tower and save a lady in a church. Those beats were always the same, even if the mini bosses and the side dungeons switched out. But in this game, even that's randomized. When you go to a new area of the game, you'll get a random storyline. So even if you're in the same world, for instance, because there's multiple worlds in Remnant, you might get a different storyline. And they are pre-designed storylines. We designed them, we scripted them out. You know, we have the high-level beats and that stuff, but there's multiple per world. So not only could you get a different world from another player, you might get a different storyline within that world. And it is a full storyline with its own NPCs, its own world boss, everything's all completely different. Let's say by chance you got the same storyline, and by chance you got the same mini-bosses, which is highly unlikely. Even within those dungeons, the tiles you get and the events that occur are going to be different. So the number of permutations pretty much ensures that two people playing the same area are going to get a different experience.
But that's over.
Fucking
The way the
awesome.
world's generated is it starts at the high level. So the first thing it'll do when you go into a new area is determine, hey, what high level storyline are you going to play? And then within that storyline, there might be multiple dungeons. Say it has a certain number of side dungeons or a certain amount of mini boss dungeons.
Those are gonna
and
make it
within
more
those dungeons, all the
replayable.
tiles themselves, which is how the maps are built, are randomized. Within a world, there's multiple different biomes. So you get different dungeon types, you'll get different overworld types, and they all have their own different types.
so
of
excited.
creatures. So if you get mini boss A, you might fight these types of enemies within this environment, like floating islands or whatever. And if you get mini boss B, you might fight a different type of enemies inside of a crypt. So there's a lot of variety.
I'm just gonna
of
host
experience.
and play through the
Even
first
if-
world
again,
and then
if you
jump
play
into
through one
somebody
area,
else's
play that
game.
same area
Play
again,
through their first
you're gonna
world.
see different enemies, different environments.
I just hope there's no bridge boss.
The main reason we wanted to do procedural
True.
generation because we didn't
Fuck
want
that
people
boss.
to experience the same thing twice. I have an anecdote where like I can't play a game more than once for some reason. If I've done something, I can't do it again. The huge incentive here was like, hey, I want to make a game that I would actually play through more than once.
I mean,
That's
that's a
our
good way to
agreement.
think about
You're
it.
either talking to each other while you're playing, or you come back.
Man, I
and
love
forth,
a game
and
that's
you're watching the
replayable.
stream and you're like, wait, that's not what I did, or like, where are you stuck? Oh, I got stuck on this boss. He's this guy with big horns, and he does this weird move, and you're like, I've never even seen that guy. I don't even know what world you're talking about.
And the first game
We think
kind of
that'll be
had
pretty
that,
unique
but
for
not
the
to the
player
degree
because
they're talking
I don't
about.
think I've
Right.
ever played a game like that where we can jump in and we're a couple hours into the game, and it's like, oh, you're in this crazy world that looks like this, and I'm in a crazy world that looks completely different with different storylines and quests, and you could play 2 full
That
games
looks good.
with not a single
Yeah,
repeated
dude,
element.
I'm so fucking
And
excited.
That's kind of how we gauged how much content we wanted to make for each area. That's a pretty unique experience.
And the thing about the game too that I'm just really excited about is it feels like a sequel.
Yeah.
It looks better than the last game. It seems to have more to it. There's perks now to your class, so it's making you feel a little more individual. Because before it was all gear based, which I love, and hopefully that's still the case here. But that you're gonna have abilities other people don't have.
Which also has the replayability because you're going to want to try other classes.
100%. And then they're upping the ante in their random generation. Because before, in case he explained it, but essentially, the first area you're always going to go to is going to have certain areas that you're always going to run into. You're going to start at the same place in the city, and then your layout is going to be different than your friend. And the items that spawn there are always going to spawn in the same place, but your map might not have that place. And so you could reload the city if you wanted to, or you could jump into your friends and see if you can find that ring or that gun or whatever. But then, like he said, when you get to the church, you're always going to get to that church, and you're always going to do that fight, and you're always going to get the end of the city. There's actually 2 bosses at the end of the city, so it did already kind of have this system, but that they're really randomizing it to the point where, like, if you're playing for the same amount of time and I'm in this area and you're in this area, it's completely different with different bosses. It's pretty crazy. So, yeah, I love that. And looking at the gameplay, it looks like a better version of Remnant visually. That pet also seems a little more. There's pets in the first one, but they didn't seem as like you couldn't interact with them and stuff like that. So
I don't remember. So.
I think you had pets, didn't you?
That doesn't mean I remember. But
Yeah. Well, anyway, another thing that they've kind of upped the ante on really comes down to, how long is this game going to be? And I've replayed the first game quite a bit, and I could still play it for sure. So, but I could understand that criticism. Someone's like, "Wow, you beat it. You're going to beat it a second time. How much more times are you going to play it?" I was like trying to collect everything in the game because I wanted to make a, cool build. But also, as you level, you keep getting these skill points that you can put into passive perks. And so I was just trying to get them all unlocked because I was like, I'm going to be the ultimate fucking, whatever these guys are called. But yeah, overall, this looks awesome. I'm really excited to play this game, and I would definitely recommend if you are curious about Remnant from the Ashes to check it out and prepare yourself for this game because I'm a big fan. So what'd you think? Kind of just jumped into my impressions, but
that's fine. I mean, it looks cool. I like the different variety of bosses, I'm assuming, that we've seen, and the variances in their sizes as well. Because like that big devil-esque dude they showed kind of in the beginning, and then the guy who's glowing blue or whatever, they're huge. Versus like this guy's not very big at all. He's like more normal sized, I guess, or average sized, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like if you took the player out of these scenes, they're very different places, and they're very different enemy types.
Yeah, like that guy's huge.
Yeah.
So, which is cool because like the first game, I won't spoil what the last boss is, but the last boss is a pretty big thing to fight. So
yeah, and I think it flashed him in
so
this
too.
trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, because the game ends. My biggest disappointment of the game, it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is that it?
Yeah, you fight
That's
the final boss,
game?
and then it just ends. And it's like,
yeah.
okay.
So,
Okay.
Hopefully they handle that kind of stuff a little better. Gameplay wise, I had like no complaints, but I do think story could be improved, which is gonna be kind of an interesting thing to see, anyways, with them like basically having story beats that are generated for you. I wonder how that's going to feel as a cohesive experience, or if it's going to come off very like Mass Effect-y, where like someone's tone is different every sentence they say because like you're not following that recording session essentially down with your choices. So
yeah.
Be curious to see how they handle it. Obviously it's an ambitious thing, so be kind of lenient on it, I feel, in that regard. But I'm also not always, these kind of games, the gameplay definitely comes first. So
I wonder if that location, not to interrupt, but every time I see that, it reminds me of Bloodborne. And some of the enemies kind of remind me of Bloodborne, and the first game was inspired by Dark Souls. I wonder if that's some kind of homage.
Well, maybe.
To Bloodborne.
I do know that the game had some similar systems too. So.
Mm-hmm. We had a bonfire system. Felt not quite lock-on-y, but like, you could do melee combat, and you're dodging a lot in combat while shooting. It's definitely inspired by it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks good. I'm also looking forward to like what kind of skills and abilities we're gonna get with this game as well. So, but I'm sure that'll be a video for later.
One of the videos they released like a week ago was talking about the gunslinger class, and they're essentially just meant for DPS. But one of their abilities, it's so simple, but it got me excited, is it turns any weapon into a full auto weapon when you activate it. And so it showed him with a pistol, and he's like, and they like reload real quick, and then he's unloading. And I was thinking like, some kind of carbine style rifle that has a lot of damage would be awesome to have in full auto real quick.
Yeah.
And something simple, but I was like, that would be effective. That'd be
like
cool.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
fighting a boss and just doing a bunch of damage real quick. So definitely sounds like something I would. Sounds like something I would definitely want to play. So yeah, anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Well, I am super excited for this game. I can't wait to play it, and playing co-op is going to be a lot of fun. But let us know in the comments what you guys think about Remnant 2 and how they're doing randomizing your playthrough as opposed to your friend's playthrough. And if it's anything like the first game, you'll be able to hop in and out of each other's games. So hopefully, if you're playing a lot with that person, you can experience both. Yeah, what do you think about that system? What do you think about the original Remnant from the Ashes? If you played that, what did you think of that? What do you want them to be adding in this new one? How do you think they can improve the formula of that game? And are you interested in it? Let me know in the comments below when it comes to Remnant 2. All right, we're playing a little bit of catch up, I guess 5 days ago? It was like 5 days ago. The Capcom Spotlight came out, and we didn't cover it, so we're going to cover it right now. Pretty much know everything it showed off, but there's a couple of videos in here I feel like we should definitely react to, like Exoprimal. I completely forgot to fucking mention that I played the Resident Evil 4 Remake demo. That's what we've been playing thing. I'll say real quick, I played the demo. It's awesome. It feels like Resident Evil 4, the original, but better looking. It's literally exactly what you're hoping for. It has a couple things that is different in this, and I appreciate that there is a secret hard mode and that there's a secret, the TMP, I think it's called, the SMG. There's a way to get that in the demo, so I'm glad they had fun with they knew releasing this. It was like the demo itself was going to be an event, because the original Resident Evil 4 demo was like huge. I remember replaying it over and over and over again before the game came out. It was like revolutionary back then. And so, releasing a demo for Resident Evil 4 again, I'm glad they had fun with adding little things in it that you can unlock. 'Cause it kind of reminds me of like back in the day when you got the PlayStation demos that had like secret games on and stuff like that. So yeah, I played it. I really liked it. The day that this thing came out, I was just on Twitter and it said there's a demo. I'm like, well, I'm going to go play that regardless of if we cover this or not. So I've already played it. I really liked it. So yeah, we're going to watch this. We're going to catch up on all the things Capcom had to cover. I think a lot of it's just stuff that's upcoming that we already know about, though. So nothing too exciting, but there'll be some things to talk about. Yeah, what do you guys say on it before we watch it?
I mean, at this point, unless there's a big new announcement, a lot of stuff they've announced, I've already kind of made my mind up on. So I'd be curious to see like what even would be in here. But I mean, what I'd be looking for would be like Street Fighter or the Mega Man Battle Network collection. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's watch it. It's 25 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Capcom Spotlight.
I think it's funny, but I also love
updates on our
that everybody's doing
upcoming
the
games.
Nintendo Direct PlayStation State of Play
Stay
style
tuned until the
presentations.
end to hear the latest on
Where they just
all
have a guy
of
talking
Capcom's
and then they
new
show gameplay.
titles.
yeah,
Without
I
any
mean,
further delay,
I like it
here's the first
as a
game.
at home experience. Though it does kind of suck that there's not like
No matter what, we're always
they're
connected.
further and further away from it, like a big event.
No, I like the events for the events, but I don't like that mid-ground where you got like the fake actors talking about the game, like Ubisoft does a lot,
Yeah.
where they're setting up
no,
sets.
that's super cheesy.
Yeah.
Collection launches April 14th, 2023.
Where they're like,
I see Steam. Good.
LAN and his NetNavi,
Yeah.
Megaman.exe.
where they're like, oh
work
hey Mark,
together to
what have you been
solve
playing a
countless
lot of? Oh, I've been
cyber
playing a lot of
crimes
Sea
in
of
the real
Thieves.
world, as well
Oh,
as
how's
the
that going? Oh,
interconnected
I love it so
online
much.
cyber
Playing with
world.
my friends, blah blah blah. I hate that shit.
Add battle
Yeah,
chips
for
to your
sure.
chip folder to use in combat as you battle viruses on the net. Select multiple
I never
chips
really
of the
played
same
these a
type
whole
and
lot
code
because
each
back
turn
then I
to
was like
create powerful
into
combinations.
Mega Man, and I was like, I don't want to play. That's not Mega Man.
Well, you also
Getting a
didn't really
message from
handheld
director
game.
Masakazu
also
Iguchi,
true,
so.
aka Mr. Famous.
Battle routine, set, execute.
It's a sick
Hello,
jacket.
everyone. It's Mr. Famous. I'm excited to share.
I don't know, the thing I like about it is
latest
it's
Battle
kinda-
Network news with you all. First,
How do I word it? The
check
combat
out this
system
video.
is basically like a hard type thing where this attack goes straight, this one will cover like a square of 2x2 or whatever, and then you can actively be moving on a 3x3 grid or 4x4 or whatever it is, and like certain blocks can become inaccessible or like some attacks and you can dodge in real time type of deal, but you're on a grid.
Interesting.
The whole thing is like you're a program. You're basically like an antivirus. And so like the whole thing takes place in like a digital world as well.
Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection includes all 499 patch cards from Battle Network 4 onward that were available only in Japan as physical cards.
That's cool.
In Battle Network 4, 5, and 6, players can enable or disable patch cards. Buster Max mode multiplies the Mega Buster's damage by 100, letting players enjoy the story and speed up combat.
Enemy
You can turn
deleted.
this feature on or off at any time during the story, based on how you want to play. And don't worry, Buster Max mode is automatically turned off for online net battling. That's all I have for you today. I've been Mr. Famous.
Yeah, I'll play like
Mr. Famous? Mega Man
maybe
Battle
the
Network
first two.
Legacy Collection includes
I
over
don't remember
1,000
back in the day
illustrations
online
and 188
stuff,
music
so.
tracks to enjoy in the gallery. With online play, players can connect with distant friends and rivals to trade battle chips and net battle too. Pre-orders are available now. Mega Man Battle
I didn't know
Network
they made
Legacy
that
Collection
many.
brings all 10 mainline
Yeah.
games to Nintendo Switch,
I don't know.
PlayStation 4,
I knew they made
and
like
Steam.
I think up to 4 of them. And after
Yeah,
that,
I thought like
kinda-
3 or 4.
Volume 1 and Volume 2 will also be available at launch.
They're out here like play
Starting March
Mega
21st,
Man Battle
the
Network
English
fucking
version of
11.
Mega Man NT Warrior will be available to watch for free. Check the official website for more information.
NFT Warrior, dude.
A new era of
I like how
fighting
the
games
2
is
I was
upon
looking forward
us.
to the first 2.
Nice change of pace.
Street Fighter 6 launches June 2nd, 2023. This is the latest edition of the series that redefined the genre.
I love the
In addition to
when they do
fighting
the
grounds
character
where the
reveals.
pinnacle
And
of
they really kind
genre-defining
of like
battles
show
take
off the
place.
style of the game.
Street Fighter 6 includes World Tour, an immersive single-player story mode, and Battle Hub, an online social space reminiscent of arcades. There are a number
pretty
of
cool.
new ways to play beyond
They really
just
seem to be
fighting.
going all out with this one. It's
Today
weird.
we'll introduce the
Yeah, I'm
final
stoked.
color commentator included in the game. Please enjoy this video.
Okay.
I'll try, dude. Can't promise anything. Let's watch a video on Tekken 8. This next generation of fighting games, man.
よろしくお願いしますさあどっちが勝つんでしょうか心理戦にも注目していきたいですいいのが入りましたね今いいよいいよいやー頑張れなんかこっちが緊張するいやーここ気が抜けないですね
I love how
熱い技
even Street Fighter like 2 had like these really. I remember as a kid thinking the backgrounds were really cool because they moved.
Yeah.
There's all these things happening. And I love that that's just been a staple of Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
That there's just always stuff happening. I always like am looking at all the details of all the stuff they added back there. Obviously, it's not the focus of the game, but something I also really appreciated about it.
なんかもうすごいことになってるよ。決まっちゃいました
Damn.
ね。
I wonder if that's something they're gonna keep doing with it, having
二人とも天才すぎ。
special commentators that you can, I'm sure, buy.
Probably.
Japanese actress Hikaru Takahashi is joining the fray, bringing our lineup of play-by-play and color commentators to a total of 8. Real-time commentary matches the in-game action and brings the competitive thrill and excitement straight to your home. Subtitles for real-time commentary will be supported in 13 languages.
That's cool.
Turn on rally support and the commentators will cheer you on,
Kind of like the most known fighting
creating a
game in the
more
world.
personal experience.
Yeah, if there was like
Street Fighter 6
one
launches
fighting
on
game,
PlayStation 5,
you're like, that's
PlayStation 4,
the fighting
Xbox
game,
Series
I'd
X
say Street
and
Fighter.
Xbox Series S.
Yeah, so everyone
and
knows Street
Steam
Fighter,
on
everyone
June
knows Mortal
2nd,
Kombat,
2023.
Yeah. Yeah, very close.
Pre-orders are now available, along with a limited number of pre-order bonuses. See the official website for details.
I won't be doing that.
We'll have more Street Fighter 6 updates
That commentator
at a
thing's
later date.
neat, though.
Yeah.
It's a cool little feature they didn't have to add.
I feel like I've seen that in another
Capcom
fighting game,
Pro Tour
but
2023
can't remember which
invites
one.
players around
Yeah, I
the
don't
world
know.
to
I can't
compete
think of
to
one.
be the best. All right, you ready? We're also proud to announce the 2023 season will feature Street Fighter 6. To celebrate the game's release, there will be a special prize package this season. The first place winner of Capcom Cup will receive $1 million. The total prize pool for the season will be over $2 million.
But is it
we'd
an
like to share
NFT?
some exciting Capcom news. Capcom celebrates its 40th anniversary this June. As part of the celebration, we're opening a digital theme park called Capcom Town.
40's
Planning to
crazy.
construct a digital museum and other buildings. The grand opening is June 12th, 2023. Please see this link for the latest.
That's older than like most.
A Capcom ID account is
Publishers and
required to play
devs and
Resident
shit.
Evil RE-verse, Exoprimal, and
Yeah,
use
it's
the
been
online
around.
features of Street Fighter 6.
The only one I can
You
think of that
use
would
this
probably be
account
older is like
with other
Atari.
Capcom services and campaigns,
I don't think it's the same
such
Atari,
as a
though,
survey
anymore.
about today's Capcom Spotlight.
Yeah,
name.
but the brand
We'll
has
release
been.
more titles and
But yeah,
services
it's definitely not the same
compatible with
Atari.
Capcom ID soon. Register now
like
for
Capcom's
Yeah, it's
Capcom
been-
been
ID.
around a long time though, because they had the weird like
Futuristic
yellow
exosuits
Yeah,
and
back in the
dinosaur
90s.
Sega
class in
Genesis cartridges or
Exoprimal.
whatever. When they actually went by Electronic Arts.
In this
So remember their
team-based action game, players suit
loading
up
or
as exofighters
intro
who work for the
thing.
IBS Corporation. Use a variety of unique exosuits and rigs to fit your playstyle and work with teammates to combat hordes of dinosaurs in Dino Survival. Let's take a look at the latest trailer. We have some surprises in store, so be sure to watch to the end.
This game is so weird. I actually think it looks really cool outside of when we watched gameplay. It seemed like there was just one mode and it seemed kind of basic.
Back to 2040.
Yeah.
Right before the Stratovator
Yeah, it's like
flames.
You're a time
EVP
traveler.
game, right?
This is no
Yeah,
random outbreak.
I think there's like another
If I think
team
this is
also doing what you're
something
doing, but
that
you're
is
like
canon
competing against
for the
them.
war game.
So hopefully there's other modes,
Why repeat the
but
same
like
thing
otherwise,
over and over?
being in these like exosuits fighting fucking dinosaurs, like that could be stupid fun for sure.
3 years ago, one of the first outbreaks. Never found out more than that. You know how the
Chief
network
Haruka
was.
Lorenzo. She's alive. In the island. In the past.
I wasn't expecting to see a story. Gameplay looks fun. It does just kind of look like a hack and slash, except for with guns.
Yeah, I mean, even when early on, I kind of gave EDF vibes. It has a PvP element to it, which is a huge turnoff for me. Like a forced PvP element. I just have zero interest in that.
And Capcom just kind of has a bad track record on multiplayer games anyway, outside of like Monster Hunter and Street Fighter. Like Resident Evil projects they've done, they're all multiplayer are like horrendous.
Another one.
Most of them.
Still handsome.
Oh. Indeed.
New Spider-Man. Lorenzo's newest quality stuff.
I think it's supposed to be like a beta for this soon.
Another
Yeah, it's one of the
Exoprimal
streamers I
recruit,
follow is
right?
playing it.
Welcome to IBS.
Okay, March 17th. Definitely be checking it out. I'm glad they're doing that because I feel like I'm interested in visually, but I also think like gameplay wise it could be hollow, so I'd like to try it out. Hoping it's awesome though. I think visually it looks cool.
Yeah.
I like the design. I mean, it's stupid that you're just mowing through like waves of dinosaurs like that.
Pouring
But
out of orbs in the
yeah,
sky.
it's weird, but like, you know, that could be fun. Oh, Game Pass getting it day one.
What did you think?
Maybe I don't have to buy
We
it.
had a lot of new info, including the release date. Let's go over it in detail.
If you want to.
Exoprimal launches on July 14th. Before that, we'll be holding an open beta test.
An open
in
beta
addition to
test.
the 8 exosuits we
AKA
previously introduced.
network
the
stress
2 new
test.
suits in today's trailer will also be playable in the open beta test. Experience the power of each exosuit for yourself as your team faces off against a wall of dinosaurs in Dino Survival, the game's main mode. Participants in the open beta test who fill out a survey will also receive an Ibius metal charm that can be used in the full game. Please visit the official site for beta test timing, content, and bonus item info. Now I'd like to introduce the Survival Pass reward system. As players acquire experience points in the Survival Pass, their Survival Pass level goes up, and they earn rewards separate from player and suit levels.
Yeah, bring
The
up the
Survival
premium
Pass
one. Yeah.
includes a free tier and
Yeah.
a paid premium tier. Purchasing the premium tier unlocks access to special rewards, including
Everybody's like, how can I
19
get in
exosuit
on that
skins
season
and
pass
10
thing?
weapon skins.
Yeah.
Here are some of the rewards. The Deluxe Edition includes the Survival Pass Season 1 Premium tier as an added limited time bonus. Exoprimal launches July 14th, 2023. Pre-order bonuses are also available.
I really like the design
Please
of the
see the official
exosuits.
site
Like, if they made a
for
game with
details
just those
on
guys that
bonus
was
items
co-op,
and the game.
I mean, I'd play
The
it.
latest
Yeah.
Exoprimal
I mean, this
news
kinda
can
is
be
what I'm
found
describing,
on the official
but
website and
also has
social
that weird
media.
PvP element
We'll
to it.
have more for you soon. We look forward to seeing you in the open beta test.
Open beta test.
Use your powers of the dead to uncover the truth about your death. Ghost Trick, the classic mystery game from Ace Attorney creator Shu
Oh, this
Takumi
already
is being
existed.
reborn. The game will
guess.
release on
This is
June
on my,
30th, 2023.
Knowledge here.
One night in a dark corner of the city, a man named Sissel is shot and killed. He reawakens as a soul and realizes he's lost his memory and his life. Who was I? Who killed me? And why did I have to die? These are the mysteries he's trying to solve with the powers of the dead.
The rest sounds interesting because it looks 2D until they move.
Sissel has 2 basic abilities: possessing objects in the ghost world, and then tricking them in the real world.
I can appreciate
A hitman
this
is
game's
after
for
the
somebody,
red-headed
but
target,
it's
Lynn.
not for me. I don't know
Use
if
the
I'd
powers
be
of
able to
the
play
dead
this.
to get her out of wild predicaments. The key to
Looks
changing
neat, though.
fate is possessing and tricking all sorts of objects. Sissel will face death in many forms. Use the powers of the dead to go back 4 minutes before someone's death. Changing their fate will change the story. And that story must be linked in some way to the mystery of Sissel's death. This board includes updated high-res graphics, increased frame rate,
There's an
and an
unflattering
optimized
fucking
user
pose there,
interface.
buddy.
True.
Check out the new challenges feature. You can earn illustrations and music from the game by meeting certain conditions. In addition, all 37 tracks from the game have newly arranged versions. You can switch between the original and new versions as you play.
That's cool.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shu Takumi, the writer and director of the original Ghost Trick game. We're thrilled to share the release date.
It looks like a kid on a field trip.
I'm incredibly excited to revisit Ghost Trick. We had Yasumasa Kitagawa from the Great Ace Attorney series handle the music. He did incredible work remastering the original songs to match the new graphics. We've also added original music from composer Masakazu Sugimori to celebrate the new version of the game. I hope you enjoy these new songs. The story of lost lives and lost memory all in a single night. Ghost Trick will be reborn in high resolution with new music on June 30th, 2023 for
I've never
Nintendo
heard of this
Switch,
game.
PlayStation 4, Xbox One,
I've never
and
heard that
Steam.
name before. Or maybe if I did, I just
Are now
don't remember.
available.
I assume it was on
Check out the
handheld.
official website for information about the pre-order bonus. Please stay tuned.
You see all these games you're doing with simultaneous releases on PC and console? Do that with Monster Hunter, please.
True.
And crossplay.
The next Monster Hunter needs to have that and crossplay. Especially because fucking Wild Hearts has it at this point. So I'm just like, if they can do it, you can do it.
It's time to awaken your hunting spirit on even more platforms. Monster Hunter Rise is now available for Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, Xbox One, Windows, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 4. Please watch this video with information about the latest promotions.
This is our outpost, Elgana.
Still need to play that more.
Yep.
I just kind of forget about it. It's on Switch. Well, the one I have. I guess I could buy it for something else, but I don't think I'd really want to restart.
Yeah, my big problem, it's the same problem I had with Monster Hunter World, is they release content at a pace that I can't keep up with, and so I get so far behind, it becomes daunting.
The massive expansion Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak will be released for these platforms on April 28th.
I'm just glad to see it's on everything now, even
You can look
PS4,
forward to a host of new
Xbox
features,
One.
including new monsters,
I mean, it should be able to
locales,
run on there
and
'cause
combat
it's on the
mechanics,
Switch,
in addition
but
to memorable new characters and
And then on
storylines.
PC, and then on everything
The
else.
expansion includes the free title updates up to free title update 3, giving you instant access to chaotic Gore Magala and other powerful monsters. We'll have information about future updates at a later date. Free title updates are also available for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak for Nintendo Switch and Steam. We will host a Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak digital event in April to share the latest information about the next free title update 5.
I'm glad they're supporting it like that, though.
Moving on to our next topic, we have news about the Resident Evil series.
The series? Oh, the movie. I think it's interesting they're still making these like CG Resident Evil movies. I've never even watched any of them.
It's very milked IP.
True.
Resident Evil Death Island.
We're excited to share this new preview with you all. You may have noticed Jill Valentine made a brief appearance at the end of the video. Resident Evil Death Island will release this summer.
She looks like almost exactly the same as in Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Launches soon.
Like same outfit and everything. This comes out soon.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, producer of Resident Evil 4. We're grateful for all of the RE4 fans who are excited for the game's release. This game is a remake of the original, which was released in 2005.
2005.
It takes place
That's
6 years
crazy.
after the Raccoon
Almost
City
20 years
incident
ago.
and depicts federal agent
People are still
Leon
playing
S.
it.
Kennedy
There's
as he
a
fights to
Resident Evil
survive.
4 VR I want to try.
Our goal is to create a fresh yet familiar experience. We've preserved the core of the original game and added updated graphics.
Yeah, I mean, outside
and
of
a
like
reimagined
visuals and like
storyline.
maybe like old UI stuff, games
RE4 is
are
released
pretty
date is
timeless for
just
the most
around the
part.
corner, but we have a special announcement prepared for you today. Please check out this video.
Here we go.
Pretty cool that when they did this, they released the demo day of.
Yeah.
Love when they do that. Though I think it was leaked because before they had this event, I saw somebody on Twitter say that they're going to release the demo today.
You gotta be kidding me.
I just got people are doing demos again, man.
Yeah, same.
The wait is over. A trial version of Resident Evil 4
It
that we are
I remember when I
calling
first
Chainsaw
played it
Demo
on
will be available
GameCube,
starting
it felt
today.
chaotic. Like, oh, you got to keep moving, got to keep moving. But then you play enough, you're like, yeah, whatever.
As
And then so coming
Leon
back
first
to it, I
enters
kind of
a
expected the same
European
thing. Like, yeah, shoot him in the leg,
Chainsaw
knock him down,
Demo
shoot him.
has no time
And I was
limit,
doing that,
and
but
you can play
it
as
feels
many
like they're
times as you want.
like on your ass
The
way
platforms
more in
supported are
this, which
PlayStation 5,
is good
PlayStation
because
4, as
with a
well
modern
as
game, you
Xbox
want
Series
to
X
up the
and
ante a
Xbox
bit,
Series S
but
and Steam.
like a couple times I'm like, I
We hope you
really
enjoy
got it. I can't
trying
sit
a
still
portion of this
because they start like they would start
survival
flanking and go to other paths and stuff to like make
Resident
sure like
Evil
they're
4
surrounding you.
is currently
And I was like, shit, I gotta like get out of here. So they did a good job with
The
that.
standard edition and the deluxe edition include pre-order bonuses. Be sure to check them out. There's not long until the March 24th release date.
True.
Please enjoy the trial version until then. Thank you for watching today.
I swear how many survival horror remakes I'll be playing this year.
Now if they would just take those philosophies and put them in new games.
That's what I'm saying, dude. When I played Dead Space, I was like, man, if there's just like a new game like this, holy shit.
And finally, we have a message about the Capcom Publisher Sale. The Resident Evil series, with the exception of the upcoming Resident Evil 4 and Monster Hunter Rise, are currently on sale. And we will be opening the massive expansion Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak for pre-order.
Monster on sale.
Don't miss
People will
this
just buy
opportunity
it.
to pick up digital copies of Capcom's hits. That's all for our event today. Thanks for watching. We look forward to sharing more about our latest titles through a future Capcom Spotlight or Capcom Showcase. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. All right, takeaways.
I mean, so there was no like surprises really.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That doesn't have to be every time. I think the pacing was pretty good for the most part. I'm struggling a little bit right now because it's pretty late, but
yeah,
you know, they did a good job. They didn't like sit there and like, I don't know how to word it, when they talk about a bunch of stuff before they actually talk about the game. You know, like a lot of times you'll see, especially in like, you know, with indie devs, and I get it, like they want to give them a chance to kind of like talk, but a lot of times too, it's just like, I want to see the game you're working on.
Yep.
And this kind of stuff is cool, but it should be something that people can see if they, you know, pursue to look at and not like, you know, be part of like a 20-minute segment of the show, as an example. So, they did a good job. It's just following, like you said earlier, the Nintendo and Sony approach to these things now. I don't think I have a whole lot more to say because the two things I wanted to see were right at the beginning. They were there. I'm probably going to pick both of them up. So.
Out of that whole presentation, what was the game for you?
Probably Street Fighter, to be honest. Yeah,
that's what I assumed. Yeah. I think it was a good presentation. I liked, it was only 25 minutes, so straight to the point. There was a couple games there that are not for me for sure, but I can appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this presentation really offered a lot of different things in such a small amount of time. We got these games that were released a long time ago coming back, like this Mega Man Battle Network. I never really got into those, but the idea that there was physical cards back then and they're allowing you to have all of them digitally is nice to see. I'm glad they're not being lazy about essentially bringing this back. And then that Ghost Trick game that I've never heard of. If you're a fan of that, and it seemed like that guy made, what was the other one? Ace
Ventura, not Ventura.
Ace
Attorney.
Yeah, Attorney.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. So I feel like if you played those games and you were a fan back then, you probably played this Ghost Trick game because you probably would have looked into the dev and like, oh, what else have they done? So that's cool that they're bringing that back for people. I like that they kind of are redoing the music. And you can switch between it, and the graphics are updated and stuff like that. So that's cool to see. Street Fighter 6 just always looks great. I'm definitely gonna be picking it up. I hope I like it because I can never really get into the fighting in Street Fighter, which is the most important part. But the quality's there and the features are there, and it just seems like I have to check it out, and I hope I'm super into it. And yeah, what they showed off here was really cool. Exoprimal, I'm still really mixed on because there's things about it I really like and things about it that I need to experience. And luckily, we are getting open beta. I am glad that in this presentation we got not only a demo that dropped the same day, but also an upcoming beta in the same month. So not only is it driving hype for all these games, it's also getting your hands on these games really soon after. So if this event or this presentation achieved anything, I think driving hype it did a good job on because it showed a lot of stuff we want to see about upcoming things and also is giving us opportunity to play them, so that's really cool. But yeah, I'll have a better opinion on Exoprimal after I finally get to try it because I want to be stoked about it, but there's certain things about it that I heard that I'm like, oh, that's kind of not as cool as I was hoping it'd be, so we'll see. Resident Evil 4 Remake, I've already played the demo. It's great. I'm really excited to play it. I'll be picking up day one for sure. The presentation was very simple. It's more about the demo is out than the game itself. They barely showed anything, but I don't really need to see anything. I'm already going to buy it, so that's fine. Monster Hunter on everything. Great. Awesome. A lot of content. You're getting the expansions. You can play on PS4 and Xbox One, which is great. And I feel like I'm missing one game. I don't remember. Overall, the presentation, though, I think was to the point, really well done. But there's just a couple things there that are kind of a lull for me because they weren't for me. That's fine. They're for somebody else. So overall, really good presentation. But yeah, no big announcements, no big bangers. I guess if the demo didn't get spoiled for me, it would have been really exciting to see that.
I was like, watching in the moment, the demo would definitely be like the thing.
I want to see the analytics of that video right when they announced the demo, the viewer drop off. Yeah. They're like, oh fuck, bye.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go play that. That's probably why they left it at the end.
I mean, yeah.
Because they're like, we're gonna lose everybody once we tell them that they can play this game right now. I got people on TikTok hitting me up going like, did you know about the TMP? They're asking me about stuff. I'm like, it's a demo. That's wild that people are like talking about things you can do in the demo. Yeah. That's good.
For sure.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to say on it?
No, not really.
All right. Very cool future for Capcom. Looks like they're on a stride right now for sure. Ever since Monster Hunter World, they've been just like knocking it out of the park left and right, and no sign of stopping, which I'm very happy to see. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of this Capcom Spotlight full presentation. What were your big takeaways from it? What are you excited for? What are you not excited for? What do you think about Exoprimal? People seem to be pretty hyped for it, so I feel kind of crazy when I talk about it. So let me know if you're excited for it. Let me know if you're not excited for it, and maybe you're cautiously interested like I am. What do you think about Resident Evil 4? What about the demo? Did you play that? What did you think of it? And what do you think about Monster Hunter? Did you ever play Ghost Trick? And are you excited for that? And Battle Network, are you excited for that? Let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. All right, we're going to read your guys' comments and reply to them. If you want a comment to be read, type in hashtag AskTLG, hashtag AskTLG. Otherwise, I'm going to read it random. So if your comment doesn't get read, type that in. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to go at it. So we did the last Tasty Cast where we covered PSVR 2 because you just got it and we talked about that. We talked about Dead Cells, Castlevania, and we watched a lot of Final Fantasy 16 stuff. And so we got 2 comments I'm going to read. First one is from Ego Border saying, I'm highly optimistic for Elden Ring DLC. FromSoft has a history of using DLCs to provide a finely distilled content from the base game. The fact that they're gonna take their time with it, making a point to say it's in development, makes me hope it will be quite transformative. I agree. You always expect DLCs with From Software games. They've been doing it for a while, and they do add like new areas, new bosses, stuff like that, exciting stuff. But the way they're handling this announcement makes me feel like they're spending more time on it than they typically do, and for good reason. The game did well. We talked about in that episode, and everybody knows. And with a game that's actually like open world, and you can like run around and do whatever you want, it's kind of begging for like, you know, something like a new island or, you know, a new location or multiple new locations to explore. And yeah, when they say it's in development, that's kind of the wording you'd use if you're talking about if you're making a game or something, and not just like, oh, an upcoming DLC is coming out. So yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you're saying, and I am hoping, just like you are, that it's going to be just upping the ante on what you expect from games that they've done before. So yeah.
I don't really have a history with FromSoft games, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about their past at all. But I mean, I'm looking forward to the DLC. So
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the comment, Ego Border. The next one we got is from Flapjack, Daddy Clap, Dummy Thick, Pancake Cheeks, No Syrup. Never gets old. Saying, I can't speak any more highly of Elden Ring. I never had any interest in Soulsborne games and only picked Elden Ring up at launch due to the sheer level of praise it was getting. Even still, I didn't actually start playing until January of this year. But I ended up getting the Platinum and am on playthrough 7 or 8, I think. Haven't played in probably a month and a half or so, but I'm hyped for the expansion. Final Fantasy 16, yes, baby, give me some of that. Also, I too couldn't stand Shadow of the Colossus. Well, that's fair. I mentioned in the last episode that Josh is not a fan of Shadow of the Colossus. We're not really huge fans of it either. I don't dislike it.
I don't have any strong opinions, but yeah, it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah, I always thought like it was okay, but like back when it came out, some people like really loved it, really resonated with them, and that's fine. But Josh always makes it a point. That game, I think he just didn't like the hype it got, so he does the reverse hype of like, I fucking hate that game. And he's very like let it be known, and I'm fine with that. He's not like a dick to anybody who liked it, but I think it's always funny when a game comes up like Josh is like, fuck that game. So very interesting that you also couldn't stand it. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16, agreed. We're both on that train as well. So preach. And then yeah, you waited a little bit to play Elden Ring, but as soon as you started playing it, you were definitely in the Discord talking about how much you were liking it, and at this point you're playing through it 7 or 8 times.
I'll say NG plus 8, so
yeah, definitely shows you're enjoying it. But this game, it makes sense. A lot of people I know played it a lot. Like everyone was just playing, and for a while there, for months, it was just like, you know, New Game Plus, how far can you get into it? It's crazy that it even supports like that much. And then you get the Platinum, which is, you know, congrats on that. It's interesting too, because I remember talking to you about you couldn't really get into like other games in that genre and other From Software games. So it's cool to see that Elden Ring was the game that did that for you. Because admittedly, I played Demon Souls when it first came out. I was like, yeah, it's a pretty cool game, whatever. And then I moved on with my life. And then Dark Souls came out. I'm like, oh shit, this is like a reboot. And so I played that. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, whatever. And then this is gonna sound like blasphemy, because I know people hate this game or have their strong opinions on it. But Dark Souls 2, it's just the right time, right place, the atmosphere, the world. It just clicked all of a sudden. I was like, holy shit, I love this game. And then I went back and played Dark Souls, and I went back and played Demon Souls, and that's where I like really got hooked on them. So yeah, it's interesting how there's always like that game in this series that hooks people sometimes like that. Like Sekiro hooked a lot of people randomly, and Bloodborne obviously was like an event. Like
I say, Bloodborne's a lot of people's favorite, so
it's my favorite for sure. It's very close with Elden Ring though, but Bloodborne's just so unique in the world of From Software Dark Souls style games. So yeah, I love the setting. But yeah, glad you're enjoying Elden Ring. And would that have been the year that game released? Would that have been your game of the year? That's my question. Was that was last year, right? Yeah, it was. Or God of War. Let me know. Thoughts?
I don't play, a lot of Souls games. I've like dabbled in a lot of them, but I don't like. None of them really hooked me.
The one you played the most before Elden Ring was Demon Souls,
yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah, I played quite a bit of Demon Souls.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elden Ring, I just think it has such like a high like fantasy element to it, because you're just out in this like grand open area. It just feels like, the fantasy campaign, I wish a lot of games were.
Agreed.
So, and I don't necessarily mean mechanically. I just mean in the sense of like, just the sheer scale and like imagination is amazing. So,
and that very From Software world design.
Yeah,
on a large scale.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, just like
on an
even
artistic level, I should say.
Yeah, the intricacies and like where paths lead, and the design of like when you first go to a place and there's like, when you first go through that one path from the beginning area, and that guy like jumps down for the first time ever.
The gate, yeah.
Yeah. Just those things. That's like, when you played oh god, was it Demon Souls or Dark Souls? I think it's Demon Souls, where the ball rolls down and hit, or was that Dark Souls? No, it's Demon Souls.
I think it's all of them, but
yeah, but it was like the first time you ever played it, you walk up the stairs and the ball just rolls at you. And you weren't expecting it, but then you play it again, you always know it's going to happen.
That was Demon Souls.
It's really cool to see those things make it into an open world.
Yeah,
because I was wondering, like, are they going to be able to handle an open world? They do these like intricately designed maps so well, but no, they confidently were able to offer an open world with that kind of design, and then their pedigreed level design in these like dungeons and like locations you go to. So they knocked it out of the park.
I also really enjoy that no matter where you go and what you do, I never felt like I was wasting my time in that game.
No.
So
yeah,
which is huge.
Was so immersed in the game when I was playing it.
And then Final Fantasy 16, absolutely. That was I'm the guy though. They're gonna announce a Final Fantasy. I'm gonna buy it, and even if it's one people don't like, I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, I mean, it was all right. It's not their strongest work, but it was all right. That I'm just that guy. So that was gonna be a buy anyways. And then just seeing how awesome it looks, I'm all for it for sure.
I have a feeling, and hold me to this by the end of the year, I think Final Fantasy 16 is probably gonna be my top 3 of the year. I haven't played it obviously, so I'm speaking out of nowhere, no knowledge of anything, but just looking at them, like, seems like it's like that level of a game.
Yeah, I have my personal skepticisms because I'm not super fond of how the combat looks, but I'm gonna play it. So
yeah, at the very least, you'll get a cool story.
Yeah,
hopefully. We don't know.
Yep.
But it's your team working on it though, so I feel like they're gonna make it just for you.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Thank you for the comments. And we're going to move on to the next episode, which was a short from one of my TikToks. I actually added graphics to this to kind of back up what I was saying. There's a good face. There's also a good face.
Good old pause.
But yeah, I added graphics to it to make it a little more YouTube friendly. But this is me just ranting about Dr. Disrespect's NFT situation. And we got a couple comments, so we're going to read those real fast. The first one is from Ryder. Welcome back. He comes and goes. Saying, more like Seth Body's disrespect. Check it out. I live for it. I appreciate that. I don't typically do the spicy content. I haven't followed this guy that closely, but he's a bit of an eccentric. Makes sense. He would think, though, people weren't into the gaming NFT bullshit when massive AAA companies tried to incorporate and sell them with way more competent marketing. They'll pounce on his like guinea fowl on snot because of some ex-game dev, ex-Twitch streamer known for some antics said, buy it or your brain dead. True. Not to put two and two together like that, but they probably won't. Funny how that works. Yeah, I feel like one of my frustrations with this situation is like we already had this conversation and we already had these lessons learned. And we're seeing the end result of those lessons learned now. It's still happening, and it's overall negative for anybody who was really pushing this stuff. And to see someone just kind of enter the arena now, reintroducing the idea of this, and then wanting to get into combat with the people who are obviously not into the idea of NFTs because we already went through this, is really kind of crazy to see. So yeah, if, like you said, large companies like Square Enix or Ubisoft, was one of the big three. I don't even know what the fuck's going with them now. If they can't get it going, like some streamer who has like a small indie dev behind him is going to revolutionize it. I mean, I'm not somebody who's going to go, yeah, you can't do it, but prove it. Let's see it. Like if you got such a cool idea for NFTs, stop talking about it and just show it off then. Give them away for free at first, maybe, to show people how cool this NFT would be, because the value of NFTs is dictated by the scarcity, but only if people care about that scarcity. So, but yeah. Got anything to throw in there?
I mean, guy who is effectively a business, speaking to his consumers poorly is not a good business strategy. That's all I have to say.
Always. That's what I get so frustrated all the time. I don't care if I even think the backlash they're getting is like whether I agree with it or not. When the person who's trying to sell you something to get your money starts like firing back, it's like I get at a certain point like you're human, you should be able to defend yourself, but you have to understand you have a relationship where you're trying to get something from someone. And so when you start attacking these people, it's a horrible strategy. And the only time it's ever like not really affected the person is like Naughty Dog when Last of Us Part 2 came out and there's the big thing happening and Neil Druckmann was talking shit back to people. I was like, stop, don't, like, just ignore it, just mute these people, block them. But that game sold well and got all the awards, so it didn't really matter. But a lot of times, you know, people working on Battlefield want to start talking shit back to people, and then their game doesn't do well, and they're like, I don't know what happened. What's going on? And it's just bizarre because it's like, then they try and blame something else. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, you fucking destroyed your relationship with the people you're expecting fucking money from. What are you talking about? So,
well, yeah,
anyway.
I mean, if it's like if I, had an ice cream shop and I decided to make charcoal, flavored ice cream, people didn't like it. And then I told them they were stupid. Like, that. Not only am I offering something they don't want, now I'm not incentivizing them to come back because I'm insulting them now. So.
Yeah, and you're willing to put your thoughts of trying to belittle them and sometimes try to imply they're bad people for not wanting what you're offering. Yeah. Why would they want to give you any money for the product they don't want? It's fucking stupid. So yeah, anyway, if it's just a person with an idea and they want to fire back, cool, but like that relationship. More and more we see people with movies or wherever it's like, oh, you don't want to watch this movie, you're just a piece of shit. Here's why you're bad. This is why you're a bad person, because you don't want to watch this movie. It's like, no. You got a product, people don't want it. Doesn't matter why they don't want it. You want their money, you got to make something that they want to see. Plain and simple. It doesn't fucking matter. So yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Thank you for the comment, writer. Let's see. Soldier Boy 3064 says, why does the game need this? Why? The problem with Dr. Disrespect is he's wearing that stupid outfit, so it interferes with his already limited skill set. Leave the stupid NFTs alone. I think that's simple enough. Why does it need it? We're going to find out. I don't think it does, but maybe it's going to be amazing. Maybe it's something that will blow our minds and we'll go, whoa, okay, well, we thought we didn't want it, but he had this wisdom and they nailed it. And we now love NFTs in video games. Now every game will have NFTs in it. But as of right now, the examples we've had given to us from devs wanting to offer us NFTs have largely been met with negative reception because they're not interesting.
Yeah.
They're just ways for them to get our money by different means on top of the fucking season passes they offer, the loot boxes they did offer, the DLCs. It's just another means of getting more money. And like, that's exciting for them, but like for us, it's like, I don't give a fuck if I'm like one of the 5 people who has a red shirt. I'm not going to pay for that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Give me actual content in the game. Otherwise, I'll play some fucking game that respects my time. It's simple. When they start offering shit like that, I'll play indie games again. The indie boom 3.0 will happen. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I agree. Why does it need it? Guess we'll find out. As for what he's wearing is stupid and it limits his or interferes with his limited skill set. I've never understood the appeal to Dr. Disrespect because people are like, oh, dude, this guy's like fucking crazy and edgy. I'm like, dude, anytime I watch a video on that guy, he's not that great at games. People tell me he's like some great FPS player. I watched him play like random battle royales, and within 5 minutes, he would start doing bad and start making up excuses and then uninstall it. And I'm like, what a baby. And people are like, oh, it's a character. Well, I'm not interested in that character. But then, yeah, then otherwise he's just yelling about shit. And not even in like a funny, oh, he's raging way. It's like an 8-year-old throwing a fit. It's like he's one step away from pissing his own pants. It's really kind of cringy for me. So, yeah, I've never understood. But I don't know about the skill set. I've tried to watch a couple of his videos to understand, and I didn't see somebody who's good. In fact, Asmund Gold, I watched a video with him where he was talking about something, but he had brought up, he's like, it's like Dr. Disrespect. You know, you get those viral videos where he just pops off a shot and hits a guy at like, you know, really far away. But then when you watch his streams, he's always taking those shots, but he's missing them. And he's always, you know, taking the shots and missing them. But when he gets it, that clip will go viral. And I'm like, yeah, it's all of them. They're all, you know, looking for that fucking content.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're good. It's just you're only seeing when they do good. So leave the stupid NFTs alone. Yeah, unless you have something that is going to add something that you kind of bringing up, something that's going to be fun for the gameplay. If you had something that's going to enhance gameplay and make it better, cool. But if it's just like another thing you can sell us, not interested.
Through a means that, you know, can just be accomplished through a serial number. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's just overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated. So.
Sure. And one thing they keep trying to push too, somebody was like, oh, he's trying to do this. I'm like, everybody said they're going to try and do this. There's this idea that you'll buy an NFT of, we'll just say it's like gloves in a game. And then when they release another game, you'll be able to transfer those gloves from that game over to another game. In theory, yeah, I get that. But like, are you just going to copy this game's everything over to the other game, so it's just like barely another game to make sure those gloves fit that character correctly? Like, is it on the same engine?
I mean, you're taking into account that everyone is going to start making their games with this idea that there's going to be this modular system for that. And no.
Yeah, and then like maybe the gloves can like change shape and size, but eventually down the line, they're gonna look like shit when it's outdated. Yeah. So it's like that idea on paper kind of slightly sounds interesting. I'd rather just make a brand new fucking game that's exciting to play. I don't want to have old content I keep bringing over to new games constantly. I guess the idea of like, oh, I got the sword in fucking this game, and 4 games later, it's not even the same series of games. I can bring that sword up. Like, this just sounds like a jumbled mess. It sounds like directionless, and I don't think it sounds appealing at all. So, again, you got to prove that as a thing that I'm going to want to play, because otherwise it sounds like shit. And I don't think they're going to be able to accomplish it. So, yeah. Anything else?
I mean, why does the game need it? It doesn't. They want to put it in the game. Leave them alone.
I will say it again. The people who are the most excited for NFTs are the people who want to sell them to you.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are enthusiastic about it.
And I can't really speak too much on Dr. Disrespect. In part that I would be a little hypocritical, being that I like to watch VTubers and they are also playing characters. So, but his personality, not really my cup of tea. So,
agreed. I thought it was really interesting. It was almost ironic. Somebody on TikTok was not so stoked about what I said about Dr. Disrespect. I'm like, this motherfucker's got a doctorate in disrespect, and I can't disrespect him. Shouldn't his community be a little more embracing of just some slight ribbing?
No. Got to be
gotta protect him.
A loyal follower of your quote unquote idols, I suppose.
Yeah, you can like him. I don't care. I won't talk shit about anyone who likes him. I don't like him. So I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about him. But yeah, thank you for the comment, Soldier Boy, and thank you for the comment, Writer, and thank you everybody who commented on these videos, and thank you everybody who joined us for this episode of the Tastecast episode. Whoa, shit! What was it? 183? I think it's 183.
We had an episode. It was an episode of all time.
It was a big one. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you for joining me, Chevy, for this episode, and thank you guys for joining us for this. We'll talk to you guys later. All right, that's going to do it for episode 183 of the Tasty Cast. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check out our streams and socials links down below. Check out our Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. We have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing for brand new. And I have a TikTok link down below if you'd like to watch my shorts, since I can't upload them to YouTube for some reason. And yeah, hit that like button. Help us out with that. Comment, of course. And I've been Seth. And until the next one, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.